Wow, just wow. This was an epic meltdown by Elon Musk yesterday. I don't know if you guys seen the conference call that he had for the Q1 earnings report, and this was, it was tough to listen to. I will tell you in a second what happened, but as you guys know, I've been pretty critical of him in the last few weeks, and kind of a lot of these things that I was concerned about just kind of came crushing down on everyone in this humongous explosion of, I don't even know how to describe it. I have to say, as somebody who has been critical of him, I've been always, before I say everything, I always say, hey, I am a huge fan of Elon Musk. I think he's one of the most important human beings in the world. Not just because he pushed everybody into this amazing things to move us as a humanity forward, like electric cars and space explorations and just this amazing technologies. So I'm a fan as a customer. I'm a fan as a part of a green movement, and I'm a fan as a fellow human being. So watching him almost self-destruct in the last few weeks and months, and definitely yesterday, was just really painful, and I really don't even know where to go from now. I definitely want to hear all of your comments. I see some people in the chat room is already discussing that, and definitely let me know in the comment section. So I'm going to tell you what happened, and we're going to discuss it, and we're going to see if I can avoid my own meltdown right now talking about it. So we're going to start right now. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric. If you are watching me live on Patreon, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. If you want to join, obviously go to patreon.com/E4Electric and you can watch it and participate live right here. And if you're watching this on replay on YouTube, thank you so much as well. Please consider subscribing so you can become a part of this community, and that way you won't miss anything moving forward. All right, so let's talk about the earnings call yesterday that Elon Musk had. Again, people describe it as a meltdown. I don't even know what it was. I don't even know where to go from here. So let's talk about it. It's definitely been amazing. So first of all, and I think this is what a lot of people have a problem with, is that he was taking questions, as usually CEOs do, from reporters, and at some point after a legitimate question, he basically said, next. I don't want to I think he called him a bonehead. I don't want his boneheaded questions or whatever. There was another question, I believe it was about Model 3 reservations. How many of them have been used? How many people have moved forward with configuring their cars? I think it was another very legitimate question. And he literally basically said that he's had enough of these boring questions, and he decided to go to a YouTuber who I have reached out to that YouTuber, by the way. I forgot his name, but I think it was whatever his channel is called, and see if I can talk to him. But that guy who I didn't feel so. Elon Musk allowed that YouTuber to ask one question, which is really uncommon, and I wasn't really sure if that was the right thing to do, because inviting fans to a conference call that's meant for media and reporters and investors is really just a little Trumpish for my taste, and just kind of unfair. This is not where you invite friends. This is business. And that guy showed that and he let him ask like a dozen of questions. That wasn't just one question, and that guy just didn't really know where he was. He basically was asking questions that were either already answered in the actual earnings report, or had nothing to do with the earnings call or what was being reported. They were kind of off the wall, and Elon loved it, and so that was odd. And I think just calling basically people names and cutting them off, and these are all investor analysis, and they represent investors in their analysis. They help everybody analyze the market and everything, good or bad, but nevertheless, I mean, this is how the game works. And as soon as Elon started doing that, the stock that was actually being maintained pretty well, like it maintained its price, but because the earnings were actually not bad, they beat expectations of the Wall Street, so that wasn't even a bad a report, and the stock started to tank as soon as he started going into this crazy spin. And on top, so yeah, but especially when he was starting being just flat out rude to reporters. Obviously, I shouldn't tell you guys that it's this is how it works. You're supposed to answer questions from reporters. You might not like it, but it's their job to ask tough questions, and it's your job as CEO to give them answers. And this is what it's all about. He made some other statements. So let me, yeah. So there were some odd things. Like, for example, in my notes, he said, so Elon did not know how many reservations they had for the semi truck, which I find very odd. This is something that I feel like CEO should know. And he said, well, I have no idea. We're not really trying to sell it. Well, they're never trying to sell their cars. I know they're so good they sell themselves, but you still got to know your numbers. And that was just odd that he didn't know that. Now, he also said that the next factory is going to be in China, and this is where they're going to build Model Y in a semi-truck. So that's good news. But then he also started saying that the Model Y is going to be a production revolution, which I kind of thought he said that with the Model 3. And then he said that, well, we kind of overproduced it. We over automate this. So I thought the revolution was supposed to get started already, and now he's saying it's going to happen with the Model Y. He also said the Model Y is not going to start production for at least 24 months, and that's kind of moved the timeline in a little bit further than a lot of us thought. So that was a little bit odd, and I have to say also. He said the semi-truck, and he talked crap about the Mercedes or Daimler's CEO basically doubting the physics of what semi-truck is doing. And I kind of agree with Elon Musk there. I mean, he gave him some hard time as well back. I guess I was a little bit okay with that. He kind of laughed at him. That's fine. But he also said that, semi-truck will probably go even maybe 600 miles and not just 500 miles on one charge. And again, this is one of those things, dude. We're all excited about 500-mile charge. That is absolutely unbelievable. There's no reason to set the expectations even higher, because with your track record, you might not be able to beat them, and that's not good. So just to read some comments from here, from the chat. John says that he's under a tremendous amount of pressure and he might not be the ideal person for that role. And I kind of agree. I've been talking about this lately, and people, don't agree with me a lot of times and think I'm crazy. But to be honest with you, maybe CEO position for Elon Musk is not the right place. I mean, obviously he is the face of the company and brain behind it, and he can continue doing that. No one's saying that he should quit the company. He just should find the better role of being a face of the company and being the innovator and an engineer that he is genius at, and maybe not do the stuff, because this damaged stock. I mean, the stock is down now, and overall people are starting to doubt, like, is he like all the way there? I mean, this is not good stuff. Grant says, if it wasn't for his mad genius, why would Tesla have the presence they do now? No, listen, Tesla is nothing without the Elon Musk, and I think the entire electric car movement is nothing with Elon Musk. This is why this hurts so much, actually. If he was some crazy guy, in the corner talking, nobody cared, but he is such a leader of this community and such a superstar as a human being that to watch him do this was just absolutely painful, and this is why it hurts so much, really. Let me go on through my other notes. Now, one thing he said that people disagree with, but I do agree with. He basically said, listen, if you are afraid of the volatility of the stock, don't buy our stock. And people go, oh, how is he discouraging people to buy stock? Actually, I agree with him completely. Listen, when you invest in a company like Tesla, if you're just trying to, do day trading or shorting or whatever, no, I don't think any company wants you to invest in them. I think companies want investors to invest into them long term. And I believe if you're investing in Tesla, you're a fool if you're not investing full term, because this is just type of the company it is. It's a future, right? It is not something to screw around on a daily basis. At least, that's what I would assume. So I agree with them. As any company, I would assume that they wouldn't want people to do that kind of stuff in a short term and all that stuff, because, it messes up with the stock for no reason whatsoever. Even the fact that the stock is down now is kind of silly because nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, the company had amazing results, not amazing, great results, and then had a great, amazing quarter in terms of the production of the Model 3, and there's no reason for the stock to go down. Except for they're panicking, and this is why I think investing short term is not probably the right thing to do. Now, by the way, this could have been a huge chance for Elon Musk to set things straight, right? There were a lot of concerns and a lot of things have gone wrong, with the autopilot and all of that other things that are happening. And this was a great opportunity for him to say, listen, we beat Wall Street expectations. We're doing really good with the Model 3 production now. The semi-truck orders are coming in. We're now making money and delivering a lot of Tesla energy products finally. We're looking forward to Model Y and a lot of other things that we got going on. And that would have been, a really positive, good statement from the CEO moving forward. It would have regained any confidence that people lost. But instead, this crazy meltdown is just completely wiped out any type of positive vibes that anybody was getting from the company lately. Now, another odd things that he said is that he actually doesn't mind making superchargers available to other manufacturers as long as they share the cost. And that is crazy to me. We've been talking about this for a while, right? But like, how can you say that when there's barely superchargers for Tesla owners right now? Has he not been to some of this Mountain View, San Mateo superchargers where people have to come in and wait for half an hour before they spend another 45 minutes supercharging? What is he thinking? I really don't know. Now, don't forget that question came from that YouTuber guy the question was stupid enough. Like, if you're talking about stupid questions, that was stupid because no car except for Tesla can even take that type of the charging rate and voltage than Tesla. So it's really a moot point for pretty much all of the other manufacturers right now anyway. But I don't understand, and this is such a huge competitive advantage that Tesla has over everybody. I think the consensus from all of us is that the best feature of Tesla right now is the supercharging network. It's not a feature of the car, it's a feature of the company and the brand. And the fact that he doesn't value it somehow and says, yeah, sure, we'll share it, no big deal. And the fact that he doesn't recognize that there are lines of people waiting for to charge is just so bizarre. It almost looks like he's not in touch with the reality. I understand what he was saying, that shouldn't be the competitive advantage, but I think it should. Why not? You guys came up with something great that nobody else has had come up with since, and they're only now making attempts. Hell yeah, use it, absolutely use it, but don't share it with everybody at our expense, of the Tesla owners' expense. Grant in the chat room says, does anybody think another person as CEO could control Elon? Well, Elon can be controlled by the board, which they're trying to vote on whether or not he should stay chairman of, and I'm sure he will stay. But I don't think it's about controlling Elon, and yes, he just needs to calm down lately, especially on Twitter. I think if you just take this responsibility of, being in the suit and talking in front of investors and taking this calls, if you just take this responsibility away from him and someone else does it in control manner, I think that would be good enough. I think everything else is fine, at least for now. So, but just like I said, maybe this whole CEO thing is just not for him. Also, Grant says, sharing the chargers is so clever. Think of the money that would roll in also were all the other cars that will use them. Well, so yeah, but the money may roll into Tesla, but they would have to build more chargers to accommodate that, while we, the Tesla owners, are going to be waiting in longer lines. So that's not fair to the customers. And again, the money that the other companies would pay is just basically for their share. So it's almost like they would be building their own separate network, and Tesla would just be helping them. So I'm not really sure if that's really a good idea. Now, another thing that he mentioned that was kind of crazy. So they just added a shift, right, to the Model 3 production line. Now, I didn't realize it wasn't 24/7 operation. Whenever I stop by a factory, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning going home just to see what's up, the parking lot is pretty full. So I assumed they were doing full force. Apparently they were not. They only now added a shift. And he basically said that it was almost kind of silly not to have 24/7 operation. Of course, you have to maintain robots and stop it once in a while. But it was like, well, Elon, we thought that you were kind of a full force all this time. The production was 24/7. That was a bit of a surprise to me. Maybe I missed something. But he was like, yeah, why would anybody do it any other way? Why were you doing this any other way all this time? Why wasn't it a 24/7 operation when you're struggling to roll out the cars? So that was another thing. Okay, let me go to another set of notes. Yeah, he also blamed media, and again, this is another very Trumpish behavior. He kind of blamed media for giving them bad publicity. And the thing is, about a few things, but including the crash on 101. And again, listen, you can't blame reporters all the time, because first of all, you don't want to make enemies with reporters who are reporting about you. You kind of want to be at least objective and respectful to them. You don't have to kiss their ass, but at least be respectful and don't be disrespectful. But listen, different outlets cover news differently. You're a publicly traded company, you're a public figure. Some people won't like you, some people will be critical of you, like myself. And that's okay. That's just part of running a company. And some of us are going to be right, some of us are going to be wrong, and that's perfectly fine. But kind of brushing the entire media to the side, and I gotta tell you, my experience and what I've heard from other journalists is that Tesla has treated us nothing but crap from the very beginning. Even those of us who love Tesla and covered it very positively, their communication departments have always been absolutely horrible. I myself have yet to get a press pass to any of the Tesla events, or even sometimes have my emails returned where I've gotten a press pass for every single event that I've gone to, from CES to Beijing Auto Show, which I ended up not going to, but to the events for Nissan and Byton and Lucid Air and the Monterey Car Week, and everywhere that I would go, I would get a press pass, because that's what I am. I am media who's covering the events. One company who consistently refused to give it to me, consistently refused to have a respectful communication with me, is Tesla. So it's very unfortunate, because again, I'm a Tesla owner and a Tesla fan. How much worse can you treat me, and why? I don't really understand it. I don't think blaming media, Trump style, is the right answer here, Elon. I'm definitely disappointed. Now, what else? But before I lose my crap, let me remind everybody, this channel and this meltdown video is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. And of course, if you want to save a few bucks, check out the discount code in the description of this video. And while we're at it, by the way, let me remind you guys that I have a few cool guests coming up. Zach and Jesse were just here. The video is up. And John LaFleur from Workhorse are going to be here on Saturday. And Henrik Fisker is going to be here in a couple of weeks. Now, I'm going to post it on YouTube in a couple of weeks. But for those of you guys watching this on Patreon, we're actually going to pre-record it tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to join me and ask him questions live and watch this live, that should definitely be an epic interview that I've been looking forward to for sure. All right, let's get back to the whole meltdown thing. All right, so oh yeah, another thing that Elon mentioned was the company's restructure that he's never mentioned before, and it really wasn't explained. I guess he said he's going to restructure the company. Wait a second, that's a major news. How? Why? How? I mean, just another weird thing that he just said, and like hit and run, right? He was also interrupting his CFO and CTO there. Like they were trying to get in and explain where the topic was on something that they're specifically in charge of, and he would interrupt them, and he would interrupt them again and cut them off. And it was like, Elon, these are your teammates. These are the other executives that are on this call, and you got to respect them. And it was just bizarre. Yeah, so I'm just looking through some of my notes and see if I missed anything. It's just so many weird things. But I think the biggest thing is where the fact that he believed that the questions that the media and investors were asking, which were very much legit questions, were boring and not worth answering, and he'd rather be answering questions from a YouTuber who, again, nothing wrong with that, except for that guy wasn't really prepared. Obviously, Elon didn't vet him or even gave him heads up that, hey, dude, you might want to read the report that we, put out an hour before, before you ask your questions. This is about earnings call. This is not a fan page Q&A. This is something that you need to benefit with your questions for the rest of the community, especially the investor community. And that's not what happened. So, and then of course raises questions like, is Elon hiding something? Is he out of touch with the reality? Why is he so angry at everybody all of a sudden? And you know, is he able to take the pressure of the being a CEO? And you know, we're discussing this in the chat, but at the same time, you know, I've already brought this up a few times. I think my guest Roger Atkins originally brought it up, and people were very upset. You know, how dare you guys? You know, he is the face of the company. Granted, he's the face of the company, but maybe again, someone else can do the CEO stuff, like in the responsible adult, because I don't know what's gonna happen from now, guys. The stock has now gone down. What I don't want to know what everything is, like $30 a share for no reason but this little meltdown, and I don't know if it's even that little. I also don't understand how are we going to move forward? You know, he won't have a chance like this until another, obviously, earnings call. And I'm just really afraid if he's going to like continue doubling down on this and maybe releasing a few other odd tweets or whatever. But God, I hope this is not a beginning of the end, you know, or of him or Tesla or this whole movement. Again, extremely disappointed as a fan. I think this is a huge disservice to all of us, customers, fans, human beings. And, you know, God, I really think I really hope this kind of blows over and he kind of gets back on track to creating, innovating, and being an amazing human being that he is. And God, I don't know. I will continue covering this, and I'm sure I will ask a few other people who are coming on my show in the next few weeks about this. And I'm curious how we're gonna move forward from this. But I really hope that this does not damage Tesla or our community long term, because this was pretty bad, guys. So let me know, of course, in the comment section what you guys thought about it. Of course, I'm interested in knowing that. And thank you for those of you guys who participate in a live chat on Patreon. If you want to join me on Patreon live, please do contribute to the show. Patreon.com/E4Electric. The link is in the description of this video. All right, by the way, tomorrow is going to be a casual Friday, something I'm going to try. I'm going to release videos, not here from the studio, about a random topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about, obviously about electric cars. So we're going to start tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it. And I will see you guys next time. Remember to stay charged.